So I reiterate here, the bill is dead.
The story of this great city is about the years before this night. We are free!
Hey everybody, welcome to Ho Ho Hong Kong. I am Andy Curtin. I'm sitting here with my man
Vivek Mabubane.
If you guys want to find me online, you can check me out at Andy Curtin on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Where do they find you, bud?
You can find me on Facebook at Funny Vivek with the letter M. Since we have no guest today, I'll say that again, at Funny Vivek letter M.
Finally, no friggin' guest.
Yeah, you don't have to be polite anymore.
You don't have to put pants on.
Yeah,
This is great. Peter's on. Peter, we got audio. Can you hear me, buddy? Let me know if we're all good. And yeah, we're doing this every Sunday, 11 a.m. Hong Kong time. So get on the live stream. This is where all the magic happens.
Exactly. This is really live, people. You can test it by calling in later on.
I love that you brought a towel.
Yeah, dude. You know what I do because it's so hot in this room? I put a towel where my stomach is.
That is amazing.
Because it just drips onto the bottom of my t-shirt.
This is why you're a professional. This is where the attention to detail.
I've been sweating for 37 years, dude. I know where I sweat. Where my glands are, it's right over here where my belly is.
But how do you? You know what my experience has been, because everyone's like, "Whoa, Hong Kong summer." Honestly, hasn't been that bad. I just adjusted. I'm like, all right, I get sweaty sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's because you're an outdoor guy. Like you probably have, you grew up going to the outdoors, hiking, so you're used to all the little humid forests and.
Well, no, Australia's a dry country.
Yeah, it is very dry.
There's no humidity. But
yeah,
I think it's more just this idea of like, when I was in the military, I was like particularly good out in the field.
Oh, yeah.
Because like all these people, they were like tough soldiers and everything, and then they get out in the dirt.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, okay, we're dirty now. You just don't fight it. That's the secret. It's fighting it.
What were you fighting for? Stage time?
No. We were little toys. We're just painting soldiers, actually.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take that.
We were actually inside of air conditioning, but it felt very dirty.
Well, I mean, the juice boxes definitely were humid and moist.
No, but like, in all seriousness, like, here's a perfect example I'm talking about, right? So I was going for a hike with Pete and Ryan and some of the other comics, and it started to rain really, really hard. And Moosney was there. And half of the guys were like, you know what? Let's just hike in the rain. And I was like, I'll do that. And I went with my wife, convinced her to come, which is a miracle. Yeah. But what she did was she tried to hold an umbrella. Wow. And I was like, this is the problem. If you try to stay dry when there's no possibility of being dry, you're going to have a traumatic experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you just go, all right, I'm wet.
Yeah.
I'm sweaty, whatever it is, then you're good.
You're going to have psychological issues, man. You're going to get depressed. You're going to feel empty inside. You're like, I still got wet. I did everything I could. I avoided the rain wherever. Actually,
it was an Indian guy that opened me up to this.
Really?
Yeah, we were in a SAS training area in the middle of the bush. Yeah. And it started to get cold because it was winter around the field. And I was struggling. I'm putting everything on, packing jumpers in my shirt and everything. Yeah. And he goes, mate, take it all out. Just get cold. And it was the best advice I ever had.
You trained in the military with Deepak Chopra?
You met him? Yeah, he was on acid at the time.
I know. He said some wild stuff, man.
Balls Deepak.
No,
anyway.
It's good. I mean, first of all, speaking of weather, dude, anyone living in Hong Kong can. The word unpredictable.
Crazy,
like
rain.
We just said right now, blue skies, right?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised in the next 7 minutes we're gonna have rain, thunderstorm, and blue skies again.
I was having lunch the other day in a high place, and dude, the clouds, like a storm cloud, just like appeared at the window, just smashed the window, and then it was gone. I'm just moving fast.
So Hong Kong, so efficient.
Yeah, that's so Hong Kong.
Get the job done, rain a bit, we're done.
Play by you for a minute. And,
exactly. Oh man, rain on you. Anyway, so let's avoid that.
Every episode, I think we're stuck
I'm finally waning off of that now. Like it's slowly getting out of my head.
No, I'm going the other way. I'm finally actually annoyed by it.
Deepak Chopra, would you shut up, man? You just made Andy another person now.
So actually, before we get into today's topic, one thing I wanted to hear your thoughts on was some big news this week is Trump has come out and said no WeChat, no TikTok. And people are pretty upset about it. Yeah.
I mean, should we take a moment of silence? I don't know what we should be doing over here.
I'm going to take a moment of joy.
I mean, honestly, look, I'm not a big fan. I don't use TikTok, number one. because of my age. And number two, like with WeChat, literally the only reason I would use WeChat is because I have no choice other than using WeChat to talk to people in mainland China.
Yeah.
You know, like that. And to be very honest with you, I don't like WeChat not for the political reasons, number one. That's number two. But because like, the web interface sucks for WeChat.
Oh, really? I thought it was all right.
It's terrible because like basically.
Wait, you like WhatsApp better?
Yeah, because
what's the difference?
So WhatsApp, when you're on the web interface, I can still see the previous messages I spoke with.
Mate, that's a feature. You got to check on auto loading.
See, that's the thing. That should be assumed that everybody wants to see the previous messages.
Mate, it's
all
in there.
along.
Every time you scan on it, it says, "Do you want to load previous messages?"
Really, it doesn't ask me that.
Yeah, well, that's you. Are you like a tech guy? I can't believe I just out-teched you on a Chinese.
Yeah, but you had guidance from Deepak Chopra, man. I mean, like, that's not really fair to me.
Oh my god! You know, I had to turn it off because there's so much crap on WeChat.
I guess
it loaded up my hard drive.
Oh
I looked. I had 30 gigs of
but it doesn't even
pictures
show me
from WeChat.
previous messages. Like, I can't.
Yeah, you never switched on.
Man, now I'm gonna have to be anti-Trump now.
I love how I've just debunked instantaneously your whole theory against WeChat. Like, forget about the politics for a second.
Yeah,
how do you use it? How do the basic features work?
I did that on purpose. I knew every feature about WeChat, but I wanted to go against the stereotype that I should know everything about the feature. And for the reason of the next generation, just like Trump's reason for blocking WeChat and TikTok, I decided to look dumb on the podcast, let Andy, the military-trained guy, tell me there's a feature on the web app of WeChat. So thank you very much, people. I'm glad I solved racism. And with that,
we're good.
What do you think, dude? Like,
couple of things. I don't use TikTok, but I'll tell you this: I accidentally clicked on a TikTok video recently.
I accidentally clicked on Pornhub.com too.
Yeah, accidentally without incognito.
Yeah.
No.
I love incognito. It's the best thing ever.
I love how they just have this feature.
Yeah.
It's just that everyone's just like, that's the porn feature, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Miss Chewy? I think that, that's anyway. So I click on this video and it comes up. I know. I just think Miss Chewy, is that Dorothy? I think it's our friend Dorothy that's coming on there. Anyway, and I got Keely, my buddies on, a bunch of people getting on. Hey, Peter. Hey, guys. So anyway, I click on a TikTok video and this thing comes up because you're not allowed to use TikTok in Hong Kong. Everyone cares that you're not allowed to use it in the US, but no one seems to care that you can't use it in Hong Kong. Anyway, so it comes up on my thing like, we have exited this market, but we were happy whilst there that we could bring a little joy into your life.
Oh, God.
I was like, fuck you.
Oh, God.
Bring a little joy into my life with your crappy app, like my miserable life.
Yeah.
Thank you, gods of TikTok, for bestowing a moment of happiness on my poor peasant life.
That sounds like some asshole after a one-night stand. Look, I mean, we had a really great time. I'm glad you brought some joy in your life last night.
I was so pissed off at that.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you think your app has more joy in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be miserable, but I get to make that decision. TikTok, you don't get to choose that.
Exactly, man. Oh, my God. Wow, that is very pretentious. But, like, I'm glad we could make your life.
Dude, thank you. I would have sent it to you. I was read this. I'm like, which one of you assholes wrote this? Bring a little joy in your pathetic existence.
What an assumption, man.
I was, it really is. I read that. I'm like, get out of every other market, you crappy you little 16-year-old dancing. That's the joy that I need.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was gonna kill myself until I saw someone do the T-shirt challenge, and I was like,
wait, don't jump off that building. It's the floss.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing
flossing.
Yeah, there's meaning to life again. Thank you.
I'd rather watch people actually flossing.
I know. Clearly, TikTok doesn't know we have incognito mode.
Here we go. Question from Lingalonga. Hey, fellas, how much money did you guys pay to stay on the top line of the lives list for 3 weeks until your show starts? Oh, no. Hey. Pay money. Listen, buddy, that's for producing quality content.
Yeah. Let me explain to you. We're comedians. Enough said.
Yeah.
All right. So, there's no money being paid. Let me explain to you how.
Listen, Lingalonga, I'm just glad that we were able to bring a little joy into your existence.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But unlike
but
TikTok,
seriously, we didn't pay anything.
Yeah, we didn't pay. Like, we're so no budget. We're in a room that has no air conditioning. People,
we saved on the aircon.
Yeah,
and we managed to still top the live list.
That's what it's all about. You know why? Because we embraced the heat, Andy.
Yeah,
we didn't try to fight it.
Also, our friend Shannon helped us get up.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Shannon, don't talk about it.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that I want to point out, right? So all these people are saying that this is the sob story that gets sold. They're like, all these people in the US, the only way they can communicate with their friends in China. You're not on email? You don't have email? Get on email. Because here's the real problem. Forget about the politics of like data control. This is the issue that I have with WeChat. It is a tool of oppression, right? Like I have friends who are Uyghurs. There's a quote. Let me find this quote from the. I
mean, honestly, the one thing I hate about instant messengers is that it's instant messaging to the point that sometimes you can't keep up. Because I remember.
No. Listen to this, dude. Listen to this. So WeChat is set up in China right now, so that you cannot exist in society without it. Right? You can't. They don't. Right. They're stopped allowing. Most places don't take cards anymore. So this is a problem when tourists go to China. They have to get the tour guides to pay for stuff because you can't even use cards anymore. Right. They've set it up so that you have to be on WeChat or Alipay. It was the same situation with both. And this is why. Is because then they control your WeChat. If you screw up, they freeze your cash. They prevent you from transportation. You can't get on transportation. And then you can't communicate with anyone. And that's it. And so this is an actual quote from the president. He said, "The system is designed to allow the trustworthy to roam everywhere under heaven while making it hard for the discredited to take a single step."
You know what that actually translates to?
Think about that.
That actually translates to, if you're a good person, we'll let you have a little joy in your life.
Yeah, well, what's a good person?
Right? Exactly right.
Right? And so that's where we get into the depth of this. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you had to get on email to communicate with your friends in China. Well, guess what? That slight inconvenience that you have, just imagine how that app's being used for people that have no friggin' ability to even...
I mean, that's quite crazy because, like, how do you define, like, being a good person? It's like your parents.
Mate, it's the social credit score. That's how.
Exactly. That's what it is. And the problem with the social credit score is you do this, we consider that bad, so that's bad. It's like typical old school traditional parents saying, you will become a doctor or else you're a disappointment.
Yeah, except when they say you're a disappointment, then they become the doctor and they harvest your organs.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they give it to your sister. It's like, I don't need a kidney transplant. You take it. You take
it now. You sell it for an iPhone.
Yeah. You don't take it, we're going to cut your score again.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not saying that WeChat should definitely be shut down. But if it gets shut down, cry me a friggin' river.
Yeah,
you know, like you're inconvenienced. Well, guess what? There's an inconvenience on the other side. And a friend of mine who's a Uyghur in Shanghai just had to report to the hospital again to prove that she's not pregnant. She is married.
Wow.
And she routinely has to, and if she doesn't report in, they shut her WeChat down.
Wow, dude, that is another level, man.
That's it.
You see, that's the thing. What I find is that I have a lot of, let's say, relatives and stuff overseas, and they cannot grasp the magnitude of what's going on. Like look at the protests. I'm talking about this whole issue that, like, what we just discussed now. I'm like, that's because it's beyond your imagination.
It's true. You know what? You're so right.
Yeah.
And I have this theory, right? Like people are saying this year's the worst year ever, and it's like, you know, trying to define how much suffering there is in the world, it's totally immeasurable.
Yeah.
Right? It's like looking up at the sky and saying how many stars are up there. It's totally immeasurable. You know, are there less stars than there were a year ago? Nobody knows. Is there more suffering now than there was a year ago? Actually, you don't know about that.
Yeah, you don't.
You know?
I think the only difference is that now there's maybe more coverage.
Well, there's a story to connect it to, and there's a story that affects you. And if your life situations change and it's tied into this narrative that you see, it looks like there's been this drastic change in the amount of suffering in the world, but actually probably hasn't really.
Yeah. Insert punchline here.
Yeah, this is a comedy podcast that's not going to get us arrested. Oh, hang on, there's some guys in suits just coming in.
Hey, be funny! Be funny!
No, I thought they were going to arrest us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, I missed the joke from that. Jesus Christ. Lingalonga, maybe you're right. Maybe we should.
Well, they did say comedy is equal to tragedy plus time. So eventually, by the end of the podcast, there might be one joke.
Oh, Lingalonga's on my wavelength here. He said, have you considered that the whole thing is a product of collective consciousness? I'm with you on that one,
the
buddy.
Matrix. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, look, that's another level of discussion, as in, like, you know, you could live in your own world. I mean, look, for two guys who are comedians and we meditate, there's a big kind of challenge where should you just basically, you know, shut it up and be in your own world and realize that, you know, you're fine with where you are, or do you kind of fight for the better stuff? You know, there's a lot of discussion there.
Well, I kind of look at it like this. It's like, I'm not saying there aren't bad things in the world that should be changed. But if you realistically look at how you're processing it, are you really changing it, or are you just causing more suffering for more people around you? Like, for example, as satisfying as it might be to go and yell at your cousin on Facebook, really is that helping anyone?
Yeah.
You know, or maybe that guy just needs a little bit of forgiveness and understanding.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's kind of like saying you see a guy bomb on stage. You go up to him like, "Oh, you were terrible. What were you doing?" Or you just say, "Man, you know, that's part of the game. You can do it. Come on, come back next time. You'll be better off there." You know. So that's the struggle in life, I would say. But then speaking of struggles, I mean, like nowadays we're still in this weird state in Hong Kong.
I feel pretty lucky to be in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's for sure.
Like 100%. You know, I mean, I have this as a bit, you know, where I'm like, my parents are always reading the newspaper and like, it's dangerous over there. You have no human rights.
There's fires.
Right.
Saw the picture about the fire.
They're in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
They're allowed out of their house for 1 hour a day within a small radius around their house. And I'm calling them up like, "Hey, mom and dad, are you allowed outside yet in your dictatorship?"
Your parents,
So, you know, the premier of Victoria, where Melbourne is, he took all this money from the Chinese government to build all this infrastructure. It's true. Belton Road built all of these overpasses in Victoria. In Melbourne, and so they call him Communist Dan.
Oh God! Hey, Communist Dan!
Like, I think 50% of people in Melbourne think that he's like a member of the Communist Party.
I wouldn't be surprised. He probably got a little seat over there with his name, Communist Dan.
Question: are there still beggars lying face down on the footpath near the Hong Kong harbour?
They're fewer now.
You know what? I feel like I haven't seen homeless people around. I don't know I don't know why.
Yeah.
I do know that. So one of our
distancing. They don't trust us.
One of our friends, Maitreyi, she works very closely with a group called Impact.
Yeah, Impact Hong Kong.
That do amazing work, and they have I guess like a store or like a place that space that they use. It's in Mongkok, I think. It's up that way.
Yeah.
And they're not able to operate like normal. She's still doing stuff in the street. She said people walking around them. I was staggered at the amount of homelessness. Dude, have you been anywhere else? There's not that many homeless people here. Actually, you know what? The number's actually quite low. Yeah. I looked it up. It's only like 5,000.
Wait a second. Did you just go out last night when the bars were open?
Yeah, there might have just been people in LKF.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Which part of Hong Kong did you see that?
I tell you one thing that interested me though was when I went to one of these impact things where they hand out the food. Not to help. I just wanted to write material about it.
Yeah, give me some material, poor people.
No, anyway, I was helping out. But there's white homeless people here.
Yeah, dude, there is a white gentleman that kneels outside the Jordan MTR station every now and then begging. Yeah, there was like French dudes. Like, So I think Dorothy's saying in North Point, Sham Shui Park. So there's an overpass there that they used to live at, and I went there a couple of times. Just took not some too many food there, dude. That thing has been intentionally lit on fire. Several times to stop them from staying there. Yeah. There's no way they got their stuff out. I mean, it's like a camp, you know. Yeah. And people just they go in, begging as opposed to homelessness. So the difference, So good question. the problem is with begging. There are a lot of obviously the fake beggars and all that stuff that happens all the time. With homelessness, there are certain areas that you just know that there will be these guys staying over there. Yeah, there's people that live there. Yeah, I mean, even like Causeway Bay, you would have a few people under bridges. And I got to tell you, I looked at the little camps where each person, that was bigger than my apartment. It hurts. I was like, this doesn't look that bad. No rent, no rates. I'm like, wait a second. A bit of outdoor air, the view. They had a view. I look at a wall. Yeah, exactly, right? You're like, this is 360. I'm like, you're in the middle of North Point. Yeah, and it's convenient. Right? You can be next to the MTR station if you need. Dorothy said, in Fortress Hill, there are 2 homeless people living under the bridge permanently. They set up the bed and stuff, permanent address. There are, I mean, look, there are, so this is the issue with some of the homeless is that because it's so unstable that at any moment something can happen, some of them actually have to move, like, let's say, regularly, a few weeks into it. Christian Lingalonga, do you think that COVID was a convenient event to occur to retard the amount of civil unrest in Hong Kong? So I think you're mixing this podcast up with the government press conference. Yeah, Carrie Lam over here. Yeah. It depends what you mean by convenient event. My view is the conspiracy theorists will say that
China designed WeChat or they designed this and that. I think that any government in the world isn't that capable, but they're opportunists.
Yeah.
They see the situation and they say, well, how do we swing this? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't think was it convenient? I mean, certainly, you know, I forget about what COVID did. Once they brought in the security law, it was pretty much a done
Oh, it's
deal.
over. Yeah. I mean,
there's like people aren't going to be out there in the streets when there's such a huge risk to them. I think people are just unwilling to go out now.
no, because it's vague. It's such a vague law. You don't know what entails it, and it's literally for the police to say, yeah, NSL, and you're like, what did I do? Like, yeah,
Dude,
you give me
the
that look.
first day, remember?
Yeah.
First day they brought it in, the police were bragging on their Twitter account
Yeah.
how they were just nabbing like pretty ordinary people.
The first arrest for the national security. I'm like, why are you showing off? Like,
Ah.
this is not something you should be telling us. Like, we did it, guys. Haha. We're like, no, what? We don't like this
I
law.
just that is so undermines their benevolence.
Yeah.
When it should be like, you know what, this is the system that we have to deal with the problem. They're just the joy
Yeah.
which with they enacted their new powers.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame when the police are proud that they arrested. I'm like, dude, it tells you that there are issues we're dealing with when you're at this level of arrest.
So, reopening of Hong Kong.
All right, okay, comedy segment begin.
Hello, are you guys in a relationship?
What's
No.
the deal with opening?
I am so excited about the city opening up.
Yeah, dude. Like, okay, so first of all, it's opening up, but like, it's a weird kind of opening up. You get it?
Well, it's similar to last time.
So, yeah, it's much slower.
So what we've had is basically restaurants shut for
50 days or something.
no, it was 2 days.
Oh, you mean the full shutdown?
Full shutdown
yeah,
was
yeah.
2
Oh,
like
that was-
restaurants not being allowed to be open was like 2 days.
We were speaking of homeless people. Let me just say, those 2 days, everyone pretty much was homeless during the day.
So what happened was they tried to shut down the restaurants, full blown shut them down, and realized that people need to go to restaurants, and they were just crowding in the street to eat their lunch.
They shut down full day dine in, and literally, not kidding, the Sophie Chan or whatever her name is, that health secretary, whatever. She went on an interview the week later. And they were like, the debacle of shutting down the dine in. What do you think? She's like, well, it was those 2 days that we realized people actually have to go to work.
Yeah, we forgot that we didn't ban them from work either.
And I was like, okay, I don't think you understand how Hong Kong functions.
So that opened up again, but it was like 2 to a table, only open till 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks ago, they said the restaurants can open until, I think, 10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m. bars can.
Yeah, so bars opened on Friday.
Yeah.
And last night I was out. I went out. I did a live show last night.
Oh, really?
Have you done any shows yet?
No, dude.
Oh, yeah.
The shows are allowed?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, no, right. Keep going.
They're not my shows, so
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Woo. That's a long question.
So there are shows, right? So my
Yeah.
opening joke last night, I was like, I used to work at the Riff that shut down because they weren't sure when they could have shows again.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and
It's like that motivational poster where the guy's like almost there. It's like,
Yeah.
never give up. They gave up.
Yeah. Such a shame. It's
They're
like
just like,
you're
there's
digging
like a
through-
thin wall of dirt before they got through to the other
gold.
side.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
They're like, we're never going to get
yeah. Oh god.
But I went out, and so bars officially you're allowed to have your mask off if you're eating, but not smoking.
Yeah.
And the cops were in force. Immigration.
Which area?
Immigration cops, regular cops, LKF. They were all around here.
Oh, really?
Huge mobs of cops.
You sure they were done just dressed up?
No, but here's the thing, right? So they did it when it was a 10 p.m. shutdown on the restaurants.
Yes.
To be like 10 p.m., they just nabbed people like
Yeah.
10:01, boom,
Nice.
you're done.
Okay.
Same thing last night. I didn't stay. I got kids. I didn't stay
Yeah,
there
yeah,
till
yeah.
midnight.
Yeah.
I was there till it's fun. I was like, my wife's like, we should go home. I'm like, yeah, it's late. I looked at my phone. It was 9:30.
That's the story of our lives, people.
Peter was saying. Actually, Peter was one of the people that tipped me off to it. He said last night they were around China Bar, which is
In Wan Chai.
no China Bar's okay.
Yeah, the one on the slope, right? Yeah. No, there's no
one
China-
China. On one China
No,
Bank.
they have a China bar in Wan Chai.
I don't know. I don't go to
Whatever,
one China.
yeah, okay,
I'm not a piece of shit.
Oh my god! Because all I know is that I was staring out the window and looking at the bars and everything, and yeah, people were all standing outside the bar area smoking, and I'm
Mate,
like,
people were like, okay.
It's
So the
packed,
reality is People were standing in the street, not
Yeah.
wearing masks.
Peel Street, if you go there, you're gonna see a crowd. Of
Yeah, there
people
were
that go, yeah.
crowds.
Yeah.
You know, where I was, nothing was getting enforced properly.
Yeah, full on, man. I went to Tycoon as well, and like that little bar that's near the entrance there, all packed. I'm like, oh, okay, gonna keep walking.
Expats or local?
Mostly expats.
Expats,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was a mix. I don't want to just blame the expats, but
Yeah,
they
but it's a
definitely,
mix,
they definitely
yeah.
leaning on the percentage-wise.
This is why places like Melbourne are in shutdown and everything, because it's like
It never shocks. Can I say this about people in Hong Kong? They are so cool with not blaming foreigners for
Yeah.
stuff. I know they do a little bit, but
Yeah.
not as much as they would in like
yeah.
any other country.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think very lenient, like in the sense, kind of
Like if you were in Melbourne right now and
Yeah.
everyone's locked in their houses,
Yeah.
and then there was just like Chinese people out in the streets,
Oh.
mate, can you imagine? There's already enough rage against Chinese people in Australia.
This is just like icing on the top, man.
The racism that would
Ooh.
explode in a moment
Man.
like that. So
Yeah.
hats off to Hong Kong people. They
Yeah,
are very forgiving to our alcohol-loving, loose expats.
Hey, no one's perfect. Well, then again,
No one's perfect,
except at the
especially
party.
us.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so things are opening up now. Yeah, bars and everything have opened up. People are, you can see a bit more smiles. Gyms have opened up as well. That was exciting for me.
Beaches haven't.
Oh, let me tell you this. Like when I saw the news, I was like,
Did you hear the theory why they're not open?
I only heard you cry.
Yeah,
Like, I
no,
heard
I'm
distance
okay.
cry. Yeah.
Bro, it's
So what-
Ryan. I'm just
what-
poking fun at Ryan.
Why? Because life's the beach? Like what was going on?
Because they fired all of the lifeguards.
No way.
Yeah, they've got no one to watch the beaches.
Ah.
Seriously.
Oh, that's gold. That's gold.
They're like, we don't think you'll get COVID. We just think you can't swim.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible, man.
And it's so funny because, like, in Australia, like, yeah, we have lifeguards, but mostly
Yeah.
no, you use a lifeguard when you have kids in the water,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
But
yeah.
for the most part, I don't need lifeguards. I can swim.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like, just don't go in the water. Then, I mean, can we be on the sand at least? No, can't do that.
Yeah, you might fall over and drown in sand.
Yeah, I heard the thing called quicksand. It might be there. It's
That's
like,
what my
really?
brain went as well.
Yeah. So I'm like, really? Like, what cartoon are you watching? Advisory board of the Hong Kong government?
Does quicksand exist? Is that actually a
I have
thing?
never seen it in Hong Kong.
Some comic, it might have been John Mulaney, had this bit where he was like, I thought quicksand would be a much bigger threat to my life as an adult than it turned out to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. 'cause
as
like,
a kid, it's like, all right, this is one of the top 10 things I'm going to have to worry about through my
Yeah.
life. That
Yeah.
and falling anvils, you know.
yeah. Or like,
When was the last time an anvil landed on
or
someone?
painted walls that look like tunnels that aren't really tunnels, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
really fast
Oh God.
birds.
I don't know, man. Like, but the beach thing doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. Again, look, who am I to challenge the government's policy?
But I think that you can, you know, I think I do this in China all the time, is at some point you just accept their logic
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, it's because they fired all the lifeguards. Okay, that makes sense.
exactly. I mean, like, look, when the gyms first opened up, the rule was that you have to wear your face mask while working out, and I was like, okay, fair enough. You know, if you're in a crowd and everything,
You know what I would love?
Yeah.
If they reopened the gyms but covered the mirrors to keep the number of people down.
Yeah.
They're
So
like,
you don't look
we'll
at.
socially distance by
Yeah.
keeping the douchebags out
Yeah,
of the
the
gym.
mirrors. Yeah. Because like so maybe that's the gym's excuse. So like 50% capacity for restaurants. So restaurants
Just get rid of the mirrors.
Yeah.
It's half the people.
Yeah,
in there.
exactly. Like the authority comes in like, this makes sense. This makes sense. Oh my goodness. This is fantastic. We are going to ban mirrors in Hong Kong.
And you know, with all the restrictions, like I'm not a bar guy. I don't go out, but I go to shows, right? That's it for me. I go to restaurants when I can afford it, which is never.
Yeah.
But like, what are we missing other than that? Gym,
I mean, like things are pretty much back to
pretty close to
pretty
normal.
close. Honestly, like life is back to normal when buffets are open.
Guys that are listening, if you're in Hong Kong, what are you missing? That's still banned.
What's still banned for you guys? I mean, buffets are open, so that tells me that it's like free for all now.
I read an article that was like, will COVID mean the end of the buffet? And then that day, I was at a buffet.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating it, but I was like, bro, that article was wrong. You know.
I mean, like sneeze guards, that already solves half the problem there. But yeah, buffets are a really good sign to let you know we feel confident around people.
I don't think they're going to suddenly be good.
Yeah, well, no, the taste is irrelevant.
Do you think that we're going to have a fourth wave? Is it too soon to ask that question?
I think so. Based on what I read from different people talking, it's used to colder weather. And again, it's that feeling of, you're starting to get used to life and you're like...
But hang on a second. It's got nothing to do with the weather.
No. I understand what I'm
How's
saying.
it getting in? That's the question.
Yeah, well,
right?
the thing is, it's basically just people come in and, again, you need like one guy who basically just has it. And then if you ask me the fourth wave, I feel it will happen, but we will be so much faster at containing it this time.
I think the problem with this one was testing got so low that it was I think that people were like, oh, this is exploding. I'm like, nah, it got big and we didn't realize it was there. I think that's what happened.
No, this one was that they let the ship guys go on.
Sure, but they also had exemptions for pilots and crew and stuff like that. But my point is that the numbers went quite high before they realized it was
yes.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Is it wasn't exploding. It had been quietly growing. And when you catch it late, then the time that you can reopen gets pushed way back. You know,
completely. Yeah. I mean, look, honestly, it really was because the government was not willing to immediately shut down all the quarantine exempted people and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, we know it's coming from there.
I can't. Yeah.
You know.
So what I heard was the problem with both of these is basically you've got some tycoon who's got all this money in shipping, and he's gotten around it. But I think I don't know. Like I think they kept the shipping sickness in the shipping area. I don't think that was the one.
No, that's why it was on Wong Tai Sin and all that, because the shipping ports.
Oh, really? I was around that area.
Yeah, okay. So it all happened because
where is that?
That's in like Kowloon Bay, that kind of area.
Oh, okay, so I'm safe.
Yeah, so you're safe. Yeah, you're on Kowloon Island, so way far. You're Cornhill, not Kowloon.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
Is that near France?
That unfortunately is closer to France than Hong Kong Island is. No, but so I honestly, if you ask me, I believe like even if the fourth wave does come, I think by this point everyone's like way diligent, man. Like way ready.
Yeah, they get that lockdown quick. Well, everyone knows the drill.
We know the drill, yeah. Exactly.
But I always think that was Hong Kong's advantage even in January.
Oh yeah. That's why we were so fast and
people knew the drill.
Yeah, and people were willing to abide by the drill, mostly because we've gone through SARS. And also, like I said, Hong Kong is like this. Like we're the type of people like, look, don't stop me from doing my stuff. If you need me to do this to avoid, stopping my life in the next 2 weeks, let's do it for a week. We're all about the initial heavy pain so we get a long-term relief.
Yeah,
that's always been what it is. And unfortunately, the government's more like, nah, let's use minimum, enforcement of anything.
But see, we have the same thing in Australia, is they're saying, wait, it's really low now, just trust us to go out. And they're like, stay in your houses.
Well, because I guess it's also the habits. I mean, like, let's be honest. I'll use the gym as a good example. So in my gym now,
he likes to lick the dumbbells.
Hey, my tongue needs a workout. Right? Let me just say,
got to scrape it on something.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's called myofascial, whatever. I forget the name of it.
Have you been to the gym?
Yeah, I've been in the gym.
Just destroying it. Do you wear the little gloves?
I am. No, I don't. I'm like a very free weight kind of guy. But my point is that I am at my lowest fitness level since maybe like the last 4 years.
I was going to say that about you, actually.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm like
full belly going.
A belly, the bony arms, the whole like picking up dumbbells, looking around, go like, nobody look at the 4 pounds. Nobody look at the 4 pounds.
So how do they control it in the gyms? Is it like...
So basically, initially, while you were working out, you all had to wear masks. Okay, which I was like, fine, fair enough, whatever, right? Now you're allowed while you're working out. If you're walking to where you want to work out, you have to wear a mask. But when you're working,
that's like the restaurants,
Yeah. So if you get,
nobody does it.
Nobody really does it. But you kind
that's
of understand.
The law.
But the cool thing is that even at my gym, at Pure and everything, half the people still have the masks on, and I'm talking like all sorts of people, like local Chinese, expats, whatever. And I was like, interesting, because I think partly everyone's so fed up. I'm like, dude, you know what? I'll keep this damn mask on so we don't have this shutdown again.
Yeah. You got to get those little freedoms.
Yeah, so like I think
I'm so ready to stop wearing a mask though. Oh my god.
I think everyone is. Like it's just getting annoying now. But the better thing is the weather's better, so it's not so painful. Before
it's
summer,
still pretty sweaty outside though.
It still is, but like it's way better than maybe 2 months ago, right? But I think it's just that everyone's fed up. Look, Andy, I'm sure like we're just fed up of limiting our mobility everywhere, being at home most of the time. There's only so much sitting you can do. There's only so much waiting and like, oh, what do the news say? When are they going to open up? What's opening up now? Even now, I'm like, I was so fed up. I'm like, dude, I love where I stay. But even by this point, I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. I cannot be sitting at home, trying to keep busy.
Yeah.
Even with the comedy and everything, it's just like, how much material can you write.
Oh,
and
I can't.
wait.
I gave up.
Yeah,
I gave up.
Same here.
I can't write without performing, man.
and you have no goal in sight. Like, what's the point?
that's
I
true.
could never try this. So
I
by
agree
the time
with
I
that.
tried, I forgot half of the things that I was thinking about.
Yeah, it changes my life so much not being able to do shows because I would do shows. I'm like a stage whore, I'll be up like 4 or 5 times a week,
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, at night, I'm like, oh, hi, kids.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear some punchlines?
Yeah, exactly. You do the talking, kids.
Sats is saying no writing. Yeah. I mean, I jot ideas down, but I'm not
but there's no
developing them.
motivation, man.
Yeah, I don't
you know?
care.
I remember last time talking to you when things kind of opened up. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna start writing a bit more. Everything. After a while, I'm like, dude, what am I? What's the point?
This is going nowhere.
Yeah, and then like even now, it's like even when if you tell me, hey, it's gonna be open mic, I'm like, I need a bit of momentum to build up again.
By the way, for this show last night,
Yeah.
Tambi played YUU on repeat for the 20 minutes before the show.
That is gold.
That's pretty
Gold.
funny.
Everyone's walking in like, I need to buy something.
Everyone's like, I need to get out.
Yeah. This show's sponsored by Jardine.
It felt pretty good to be back on stage.
I'm sure it was, man.
Rusty,
Yeah.
bit slow to move,
Yeah.
just couldn't think
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
And I just wanted to do new stuff. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
I mean, that's the other thing as well is that, I'm sure you've done like some virtual video.
I did a show for New York Comedy Club,
Yeah.
but it's like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Right?
It's weird, right? Saturday.
I said at 8 a.m. and I'm in like, my kids are in the next room.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, everybody, just finished feeding my children. And then I
Yeah.
put them in the cupboard so that daddy could go, service
See a
his
few
comedy habit.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was weird. It was nice.
Yeah. But I think
So funny, dude. We're doing this. I did a show. Have you ever done the living room show? It's
no.
I should get you on that show. You'd love it.
Wait,
Turner
isn't that
books it.
Turner show?
Yeah.
No, I did the New York
Dude,
show. That's the living room show?
You actually did it in Brooklyn, or you did the
Oh, no,
online?
sorry, online.
I did the actual show
Oh, nice.
years ago, and
Yeah.
I think I might have got him into that room. I can't remember. He runs it now,
Nice.
and so he did the online version.
Yeah.
And dude, as we're waiting, they're like playing the music and everything, and
Yeah.
some girl goes, "Oh, I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun, and if it's not funny, we'll just hang up." And
Oh,
like,
God.
their microphones on. Like, everybody starts laughing.
Yeah.
Um,
And the guy's going like, oh, the show started?
I like it's good if people have their mics on because you need to hear that people are laughing,
Yeah.
But people just forget, or like someone else walks in the room
Yeah, you can
and
hear
is
that.
like, Sarah, you left your undies
Yeah.
on the kitchen
Yeah.
sink again. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the weird thing I always tell people. Like, I've done a few, like, let's say online talks or whatever.
It's not as fun.
It's not as
It's
fun.
okay. It's like if you're addicted to heroin, it's
Yeah.
methadone.
Exactly. Yeah, it's still a drug, but not the same kind of
It'll
feeling.
get rid of your what do you call it? Like
The itches that you need, like that withdrawal symptom.
withdrawal. That's what I'm
So
looking for.
see, this is the thing that I that will never be able to replace live comedy, because when you're doing it online, the issue is that you've got to look into the camera, the abyss of the lens.
Yeah.
And when you look in there, even if you hear laughter, you're actually like you're alone in the room and you're hearing laughter in your head. You're not feeling.
But don't you find there's some rooms where you can't see the crowd well enough to connect?
But you can kind of maybe see silhouettes a bit, or you can visually imagine. Like, you'll see the room before the show starts, right? So you kind of know where everyone's sitting. With this one, it's just like a round circle, and depending on how well you've cleaned your lens, maybe a few thumbprints as well.
I didn't look at the lens,
You don't
actually.
look in the lens?
Now that you mention it.
Oh my god, really, dude? Like I have to look dead into the
See,
lens
you're a
and be like,
professional. I'm amateur.
oh man, I don't know, man.
Dude, when I opened for Gaffigan in Bangkok,
Yeah.
he has single spot, no other lights in the room.
Okay.
And it was a pretty big stage. I walked out, the lights on me, it was like being born.
Oh, yeah,
I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
There's 800 people sitting over there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see the mic stand. So I'm just walking into light.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the mic stand like appears in front of me. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he starts telling jokes like, oh, they're over there. Look in
I
that
can hear it a
direction.
little bit.
Yeah, but I've definitely done shows where
Pitch
I had
black, right?
that was the worst I've ever done for
Yeah.
not being able to see the crowd.
Yeah.
But I've done shows where I'm like, they're really, I'm not getting a lot
Yeah.
visually of where they are.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, you still get the acoustics, from the sound.
Sure.
You can
and
feel when
once you
Yeah.
can feel it when you're not.
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
not
that-
laughing. If you can't hear me, that might be a problem.
yeah. Then your set list needs to change.
That's a bigger issue.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the one thing that I've learned to really appreciate, that real factor and feeling the real laughs, not through the headphones anymore.
And here's what I love. And here's a real big difference about the reopening of Hong Kong versus the rest of the world. obviously some other parts of the world are opening up. Did you see that like biker festival in the US in Sturgis?
No.
I think it's
Oh
called.
yeah. They were gonna do and they were joking about how it's
Dude, they had 260,000 cases as a result of this festival.
Yeah, I remember.
260,000. It was 20% of the US's total incident count from like August 2nd to September 2.
Typical, man.
Which is like you say 20%. 20% of the total count. So that means it was 25% of the rest of the cases.
Yeah, that's
you know.
insane, man.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So what my point is that if you're in a place that's opening up and still has COVID, you're not going to go back to normal.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to go out.
Yeah.
Right? But in Hong Kong, like when they came back on in May, within a week, restaurants were back to 90% of their business on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because everybody feels safe, they will go out.
Correct.
So there's actually an opportunity to go back to normal. And that's when the comedy clubs sold out like 6 weeks of shows in a row.
People were ready,
because
man.
there's not a lot of other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Comedy is when you can't go on a holiday. It's a cheap form of entertainment, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is, people feel safe. They can go out and sit in a room.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big difference of being in a bubble that's opening up versus being in a city that's opening up and still has COVID out there. Is, you know, if you're just doing it in, Texas or something, the people in the room, they're the psychopaths that you don't want to be around. Did you hear about D.L. Hughley?
No.
He was at a show in Texas, I believe it was Texas. He's on stage. He collapsed on stage in a room full of people in a comedy club, tested positive for COVID.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
That was a while ago. That was like April maybe, I think.
That hurts, dude. When you see like people like that get it, you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anybody can get it. It doesn't mean
so
it's necessarily serious.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's just annoying that they've got it and it's like, here we go, not yet another one. Yeah.
But that's not a great, like, I don't want to get back to that situation. I want to get back to the situation where, you know, maybe I'm short-sighted. Who knows how this is going to play out? I think apparently the Oxford vaccine's getting pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I think a vaccine will come, and there's definitely an issue if they don't fix this.
Yeah.
There is an issue with these Citadel situation where you've closed up all your borders.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, just wait till next year, man. The session.
But
and
I'm like,
everything.
just go for it. You know, keep the bubble. If you can get things open up again. Basically, I want to do shows.
Yeah.
It's about me.
I think honestly, at the end of the day, this also look. I'll be very, very truthful. Like this has shown me a side of humanity of like such a simple thing. Yeah, a mask is annoying. And I'm saying that we've been wearing for so long, so that's why we're at a point where like I'm ready to take it off. But as much as we're ready to take it off, if we have to wear it, we're gonna wear it.
But we're also wearing it in a city where there's detailed statistics showing that we're pretty safe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I say I'm ready to take it off, not because I think people shouldn't wear masks or whatever, but personally, I just understand there's very little COVID in the streets here.
Yeah, correct.
So me not having a mask on, it shouldn't be that big a deal.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that we've already done the calculation of the risk ratio and all that kind of stuff, and therefore we're feeling at this level, I'm willing to take it off.
Yeah, it's super low risk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's same like the gym, man. I mean, like at the gym, if I'm in my own corner, I don't really have to have my mask on anymore. I know I'm calculating the distance and everything. I'm like, I'm not going to get it in this corner over here.
So I went to a yoga studio the other day. Yeah, and they had screens between the mats.
Jeez.
And I'm not very coordinated. I kept kicking the screen over. And then they had this weird thing. I'd never seen it before. Have you seen this? It's like, it's not a face mask.
Oh, it's
like a screen. And it sits on your chin.
Yeah.
And it rises up above your mouth.
Okay, so this
and you're supposed to like have your legs over your head with this freaking plastic thing on your face.
So
can we just breathe on each other?
I first saw this when I was at my friend's place and they were watching TVB, unfortunately. And so they actually had these interview shows. And so it's basically like, you know, like when you go to the restaurants and you have these guys with the little plastic over their mouth so they don't spit in the food. That's what it is.
That's
right?
it. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so it's really weird.
It's like a sneeze guard.
Yeah, it's a sneeze guard before your mouth so that when you talk, you can still see your lips, but I don't get your spit. You know, now in a really weird way, I have a few friends that could really use that. I've known them long enough where I'm like, you know what, guys?
Is it me? Is this your polite way?
I'm counting down to Christmas, Andy.
You're like, I'll pay for the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it is, man. So I'm just saying, like, but it's really weird when they make you wear it, and you're like, this is so weird. Like, so I'm breathing into plastic, and I'm doing yoga. Like, how are we supposed to, be all like healthy and conscious? And you're like, let's breathe into this non-biodegradable plastic on your.
Well, that's the thing is breathing is such a huge part of it. They're
exactly.
Like, breathe gently. I'm like,
yeah. And it's all steamy and foggy. You're like,
it's the worst.
it's the worst.
By the way, another funny thing, they say you're not supposed to eat for 4 hours before you do it. And I have a theory. I'm like, because I always eat before I do it. I'm like, I think they just don't want anyone farting.
Probably, or puking for that matter as well. Yeah. But the
maybe.
farting definitely, because everyone's like doing deep inhalation.
Well, because the thing is, it's like they have it's like so clean and fancy, and then it's like, come on, what are we doing? We're squeezing ourselves upside down.
It's true. You're twisting and turning all the gas bubbles.
Oh, right. It's all about the
exactly. The detox and digest, people.
Degassing,
Degassing, getting it out of your system. That's a toxin, sir. That's a toxin.
Worse than COVID.
Oh my God, that's a different kind of fainting you'd be doing on stage if someone's part of that level.
All right, as we get to the end of today, if anybody wants to call in, we're going to bring you straight online. So there's a call-in feature for anyone listening through the Podbean interface. Feel free to call in and we'll dial you in. If you guys got any more questions.
Yeah, like we asked earlier on, like what's not opened up for you that you're kind of thinking like, why?
Yeah, who's in Hong Kong that has had something that hasn't opened up for them yet that they want open? Yeah, I'm like passing judgment on all of society. Oh, kindergartens have been open for ages.
Yeah. Face to face?
I've had my kid in kindergarten at the first week of August. They did an online thing.
Yeah, online.
For the first week only.
And it was face to face after that?
He's been in there since the second week of August.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Outdoor basketball court, Sat said.
They're still closed? Oh, I did not know that.
I thought they were open.
Well, let's just be honest. I mean, like outdoor basketball in Hong Kong is not exactly that exciting. I mean,
it's certainly not. Played to a high standard.
I'm not looking at like 3-on-3, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, all right, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly. No, okay, so those are closed. Okay, fair enough. I see again. Outdoor, that's a keyword that I don't do much with.
Yeah, that's
basketball is something I don't entangle with, and court. You know what?
Did you watch The Last Dance?
So good.
I don't watch any basketball.
Dude.
That was amazing.
That was amazing to me because like I really was a big basketball fan growing up.
Oh, really?
I was huge.
And you were the same era, right? Chicago Bulls when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it's funny because I was like, why did we even know about the Chicago Bulls in Australia? And then I watched that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And same here. It's like that. I was huge with the NBA, dude. I knew all the teams, all the players. I had basketball cards.
I knew like Scottie Pippen. And
but I mean, like I'm talking like it's because of the NBA. I would know half of the states and cities in
so you would know the people in the documentary.
Oh yeah, full on.
It's
I would
that
know all
era.
That. Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. All the guys like Carmelo, Isaiah Thomas, all that stuff. Yeah. I was full. I was like,
the mailman.
Oh, the mailman, Carmelo. Oh yeah, man. So all that stuff and The Last Dance. Now that I have to say, the story behind it, I'm like, now it's just a great story. He's just like an enigmatic character, Michael Jordan. But you know what I liked a lot is that it also talked about the other side that sometimes is frustration. Like he was saying, I don't want to be a role model sometimes. I just want to play. And I'm like, I totally get it. Like it's the comedian on stage that people come up to you, like, hey man, could you tell us a few jokes? This guy's really depressed. I'm like, no, dude. It doesn't work that way.
So I was talking to Will Sylvince about it. I asked him if he watched it. He's like, I don't support Michael Jordan. Because apparently there's a view within the African-American community that he does not help African-Americans.
Oh, yeah. So even in the documentary, right, it talked about that politician that asked for his vote of confidence, and he said, keep away from it. I felt like
he looked pretty good in that one, but Will gave other examples.
I'm sure. Like, look, let's be honest. The PR ability of Michael Jordan, Nike, and all these guys, like, they will definitely ignore. Look, he
commissioned that documentary, right?
Well, there you go, right over there.
As Garen said, it's not really a documentary in the sense that I don't agree with his terminology, but his logic of what he was saying was this isn't an objective story.
Yeah. Well, let's be very honest.
What documentary is.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. What documentary is objective.
The agenda aligns with the subject.
Yeah, correct. And if anything,
but it did paint him pretty bad in some ways. Like,
I guess, they wanted to show that he's not perfect. But the things, let's be honest now. If Michael Jordan were to come out with a new line of Air Jordans now, I'm pretty sure there's a new bunch of people going like, I don't wear that now.
Dude, first pair of running shoes that I ever had that weren't like just white shoes, Air Jordans.
Really? I've never worn Air Jordans, man.
I must have been 10 or something.
Oh, God. I could never afford it. Like, I was really a big fan of the Reebok pumps and everything. I couldn't afford that either. But I was like, I can't afford any of these shoes. Now that I can kind of afford it, I'm like, I just wear simple, boring shoes. I'm good.
I got Renbands on.
Yeah.
You know Renband?
No, dude.
Dude, it costs 70
Hong Kong dollars.
that's
a Chinese brand, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard it. Yeah.
Dude, I get my Renbands dirty. I just buy the same pair again on Taobao.
Dude. Yeah, dude. Even me, I'm like $200, $300 at like
It was so funny. I'm hiking and people are like, oh, I don't have the right shoes on. I'm like, I'm wearing red bands.
Yeah, so shut up.
Right?
Yeah, your shoes are just fine, man. You're getting the job done. Yeah, so right now, I honestly, in a week's time, all I'm lacking now, if you ask me, is the live shows being
live shows. Yeah,
you know, I really
But obviously, your work has been hugely impacted.
impacted.
Not like mine.
I mean, like all the events now, live events have been canceled. You know, annual dinners, whatever. But the good thing is, many companies have accepted the online version of.
So they switched to that. When do you feel like they switched?
I would say honestly, it would be in August because usually planning of the end of the year party starts in August.
So in August, you started to book online stuff.
People were contacting about and basically most of the events when they do book you on a certain date, it's already assumed it's going to be online.
Do you think they'll switch to offline now?
No.
You think they locked it in?
Yeah, I think the risk is far too high for them to book a venue, and they're like, we're not risking that thing getting canceled because it's a lot of money, man. Like if you book a big venue for let's say 500 people. You know, and then you've got the food and the this and that.
I do know that a lot of places that want to get rent in, they're doing deals that they would never have done before.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like no deposit.
Yeah.
Or some.
That's actually what I do now as well for my gigs. I don't
really.
Do deposit. Yeah, I'm willing to waive the deposit.
I mean, it's deposit is a luxury when you've got leverage, but the leverage is pretty limited now when people are just like, well, it's not that we're going to go with someone else. It's that we just can't commit to this.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's you're saying exactly right. As in, like, there's the rooms and stuff now that either not taking deposit.
So a lot of these properties are doing what's called turnover rent.
Yeah.
It's basically saying you don't pay rent unless you make money.
Oh, so like the co-working spaces, one of those office spaces?
I mean, property.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They just like, we need to get something in.
Yeah, true.
You know,
I wouldn't be surprised really because like for them, they're like, if we lose you, it's this guaranteed zero. So we don't mind kind of risking with you. Then we build good rapport with you, with your company as well, and you feel like we're on your side. So if anything, you want to stay here longer in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, they'll jack it up when they can.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But for now, it's like we'd rather have someone in paying something. Than nothing.
True. Well, all I can say is that if there's any podcast listeners who are in the government or the advisory board, please tell the government that live shows are important. I have a feeling that the reason why they're not officially allowing it, like bars, restaurants are all open, because they don't watch shows.
It's like Carrie Lam in the bars.
Yeah.
Her perception of bars, she's like, they're all just having sex on the table.
I know. I was like, Carrie, like, I think you're missing half the point. There's a lot more than just, courting.
Also, it's this idea that when people are stressed out, the small things that de-stress people are incredibly valuable.
Oh, Andy,
being able to socialize functionally.
Is big.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you this. The gym for me is the equivalent. It's like the gym being shut for 50 days? Dude, my health has just deteriorated like crazy.
Yeah, I was going to point that out actually.
Yeah.
And I think if there's anyone from the government listening to this podcast, please skip the first 15 minutes. Please, I'd like to stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think WeChat's great.
Well, it's great. We like to chat all the time.
There's no I in WeChat.
Yeah, exactly. In short, we chat.
There's no I in WeChat because I will be blocked permanently.
Exactly, yeah. That'd be Weibo.
All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for listening. It's been a lot of fun. As you know, we'll be doing this every Sunday at 11 a.m. Next week, we have a pretty exciting guest. We've got a chef going to come on from an Italian restaurant, and he's going to tell us all about how it's been for the restaurants, what their plans are, and how they're coping with the situations. It will be very interesting.
We'll learn more about spicy meatballs.
We're just going to talk in like a hacky Italian accent, like, hey, tell me about your restaurant.
Exactly. And what will happen is
we'll try not to sound like a borat.
Yeah. And you know what? If we can arrange it, we'll try to put a pipe somewhere so you can come up and down through it.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.